All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for these two Google searches. And back here in the GBC universe, we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, FSIC is our North Star, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video, wherever. It's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our full spectrum intent capture here in white. Got our highest intent peeps over on the left. There's people using social search, Google search, looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent people, and we deal with those with our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS, and we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here, these videos talk about BSS. And BSS is boudoir search sameness. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. Both are terrible. If we got 0 slots page 1 on Google, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2, which means 80% of people, they're page 1 only searches, which means page 1 is the only place that matters. Page 2 and deeper, we're basically dead. 1 slot. If we got 1 slot on page 1 Google, that ain't enough. And that ain't enough because everyone else has got 1 slot as well. Some people may have 2. And so we're going to be, price shop to death. Buyers just going to go down, hit each link, open up their website, contact them, price shop, negotiate, price shop. And, just the killer for every boudoir photography business. Now, 0-1 slots of page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. It's extremely common. Everyone accepts it as normal, but it's not. There's 2 deeper root causes: market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, and then the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, yeah, people get a new iPhone, get a new camera, get new gear. They throw up their Google Maps profile, saying they shoot boudoir. They throw up their website, saying they shoot boudoir, compete on page 1 for the high intent keywords with us, and they also they also come in, through like COVID. That was like big market saturation. People lost their jobs, but everyone has a smartphone with awesome cameras. So a ton of new boudoir photographers came through. And, that's more sellers for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every seller to win, every individual seller to win. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is an interesting one because from what I've discovered seems like nearly all boudoir photographers kind of accept this, except that, I don't know, each boudoir photographer should either get 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and however the dice falls, that's simply what it is. Maybe they had 1 slot page 1, then someone new came in, ranked their website higher, they got, and it pushed them off to page 2, and it's like, okay, well, that's simply how it is, and that's how it is. But in fact, we've discovered that Google will actually give as many page 1 slots as someone wants to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google page 1 in only 10 days using this new strategy that we developed, that you'll see in 2 pictures here. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So if we're on page, we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, and we're missing, approximately 80% of searches never even seeing us. Yeah, we're definitely disappearing boudoir photographer. If we got 1 slot on page 1, we're still invisible. We're disappearing boudoir photographer. And this is kind of the first sign, the canary in the coal mine, the blinking warning light telling us that, basically telling us that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing once this happens. So this is our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. There is a false belief of page 1 equality. But thankfully, finally, we have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, S-cubed methodology. And the way it works is right in the name, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent buyer, boudoir buyer keywords to show up there. And when we do show up there, we're dominating social search. That's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America, where the snow is melting. It's flowing into small, flowing into small streams, small rivers, and eventually at the end it flows into the Amazon River. That Amazon River is page one on Google, but we first got to get the snow and the small rivers, small streams first. The inputs, that's saturating social search. And what's awesome about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation in a reasonable time and successfully compete against market saturation. The only other thing that I've seen that can do it obviously is a brand, massive well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years to actually acquire. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. We got AI coming, taking people's jobs, gonna force more people to be, into the photography market as photographers. We don't have time to rely 5 to 10 years to create a brand anymore. But now, an example of how SQ methodology, still can allow boudoir photography business to grow in the face of massive market saturation. Let's say got 1 million boudoir photographers in Topeka, Kansas, and we're one of them. Everyone's got their websites saying they do boudoir, and as a result, we are actually now competing against, we got 999,999 other competitors. And so competition is super fierce on page one on Google. So we crank up SQ methodology to the max. And let's say we're able to get the first 300 slots for like all the highest intent keywords across all social media search platforms. And let's say as a result, that flows onto Google, and let's say we got the first 300 slots on Google as well. And there's 10 slots per organic slots per page on Google, so we're taking up the first 30 pages. A buyer literally basically needs to go to page 31 to essentially find any of our competitors. Same if they search anywhere in social media as well. We're taking up all those first 300 slots. So whose business is growing in this case? Ours. Why? Because we're basically the only ones seen anywhere. We're seen. Everywhere someone searches, we're there taking up all the slots. And so, even though there's massive market saturation, we're still the business that's growing, and everyone else is disappearing, slowing down, shrinking, going away. So that's the magic of SQ methodology. Next, once treated with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And so, we got the first initial benefit, which is more page one slots. The second initial benefit is every new slot we take on page one, we actually are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Because now we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So we're making them invisible to, 4 out of every 5 people, approximately 80% of the market, the bulk of the market. And we're getting like double, triple, quadruple the exposure. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where the GBC recommended minimum of 3 slots comes in, because basically everyone else is going to have 1 slot. Our 3 slots going to dominate them. And there's also going to be a small chance someone could have 2 slots, but we're going to dominate them as well because we got 3. That's what BSV means. And boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So it's our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and, most importantly, the false belief of page one inequality, which we now know is false, which we'll see my results with it, proving it false in the next picture. Finally, thankfully, thank the universe, we finally got the solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility, we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, dude, so now my results using SQ methodology for myself. So I want to rank for the, you can see right here, the words BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one on Google for these words. So I purely used my S-cubed methodology. Come down here to the organic slots here. So I start with 0 slots on page one. And here we go. First organic slot, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I'm from 0 out of 10 slots on page one in Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days, exclusively utilizing S-cubed methodology. So we're not going to say if this boudoir photography business has BSS, yes or no, for these 2 Google searches. So let's see. Boom. All right. Santa Clara, San Jose. All right, right here. So Santa Clara. All right, so let's see. We got 1 out of 10. And that. And well, we got 1 out of 10. I mean, we got the Google, but we don't get that as Google, the 10 organic slots. So we got 1 out of 10. Dang. Yeah, no, I know actually Santa Clara is right in the middle of San Jose, so that actually makes sense. More kind of keyword overlap competing for these slots. So yeah, dude, we got BSS here with well search sameness. We're simply looking at the 10 organic slots. Now let's also look at San Jose. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. We got all right. We got 1 out of 10 again. So we got BSS. All right, so we got BSS for both searches. We're at 1 out of 10 for both. And so yeah, we got BSS, and also we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one slots to really get that boudoir search visibility. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've actually gone and done the local search for the highest intent keywords for your locale, and you've also done it for your city, and you've seen that you got at least one of those has BSS, or you see that at least one you are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google, then you're seeing this SQ methodology like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Maybe you had been thinking, how can we get more slots on page one on Google? So maybe you'd already broken through the false belief of page one quality, but now you're like, yes, SQ methodology, that's what I've been looking for. Even though you kind of didn't know what to expect or what it would look like, but you decided, yes, SQ methodology is your way to move forward. So you're like, heck yeah. And you're also understanding the initial benefits of it. More slots page one did. Yeah, the 2 initial benefits: more slots page one on Google, kicking more competing with web photographers off page one, off to page two, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. And you understand the 2 prongs of market saturation. Getting new iPhone or getting new camera, so getting new gear, and you're looking ahead and you're saying, well, you understand AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So you're like, okay, that is actually going to be the biggest flood, the biggest force of more boudoir photographers into the marketplace, or people who are even those who are new to boudoir photography, going to compress margins for everyone, lower prices for everyone, going to basically force more competition, page one Google search. And so you're saying, all right, I actually need to not only get this many links on page one, you also need to fortify your position right now in preparation for all the new boudoir photographers coming into the market after AI starts taking more and more people's jobs every single day. And you're seeing SQ methodology is also a perfect thing for that as well. It's kind of like building the levees in Nolens, Louisiana, where that city is below sea level. And So once that happens, you're like, or once you're basically seeing the future right now. So you're like, the more links, momentum you can build up to get page one links on Google, the higher chance that the new Boudoir photographer's never even reached page one, never even reached the links, um, on Google page one. And so when you, so you're seeing that, and SQ's methodology is the way forward, and you want to increase the, you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need those things in order to become number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand kind of the long-term back-end benefits of successfully executing this SQ methodology every single day. And these successful benefits are, basically you're building up kind of these columns, these mindshare columns of peeps who are, kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns that actually, they're kind of like invisible. They're columns attached to, like, the Parthenon in Athens are kind of like invisible columns, like hubs, hub and spoke model. So like spokes onto a hub. And these things exist kind of like as AI mindshare. So you understand the future benefits, which is actually the more we successfully execute methodology, the higher probability we're going to be sort of appear AI overview on AI search. And so that probability kind of builds and builds and builds every single day that we do successfully execute methodology. And also the same goes for backend search. Like AI search, like ChatGPT search, like we got Perplexity, Claude, we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, and you're seeing other feature benefits as we're successfully executing SQ methodology actually increase the probability we get a list on AI search for all those as well. So I know last time I searched for boudoir photographers in a city, ChatGPT, it literally recommended 3. And I actually went to go on Google for myself to look at, okay, how many are actually going to be, are actually out here. Dude, there's like 60, like Google Maps and Google Search all combined. And so I was like, all right, we got to do something to really increase the probability that we're increasing search here, that we get on these. Because I know I don't standard Google search anything. I'm always using the Google AI overview. And so I know, yeah, standard Google search is still like approximately 90% of all searches, all the search market globally. But dude, AI search is getting bigger and bigger every day. So you're seeing that, and you want to actually get kind of those bonuses, those momentum of being shown in these, increase the probability get shown in these searches. And as a result, you also understand that you decide to hop on this first because you'll be actually be able to build a ton of momentum and separate yourself from all your competitors. Because I basically my plan currently is to only work with one boudoir photographer in each city. So you're seeing you can kind of close off your competitors from using this and put a massive gap between you and them before they even know what's going on, before they even know we've put in the effort to completely dominate page one Google search. And conversely, you're seeing that, oh man, if one of your competitors actually, if one of your competitors actually hops on this first and works with me, well then you'd have to rederive SQ methodology on your own correctly. And when you do that, you would never be 100% confident if you did it, derived it correct or not. And what would actually happen is you'd have to equal our execution. And when you equal our execution, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor would have already built up, kind of above you or ahead of you. So you'd maintain that gap. You'd actually have to double or triple our daily output of execution of SQ methodology to close that gap, kind of pull that AI mindshare brain momentum for those invisible thematic keyword columns away from your competitor and me and back towards yourself. And so it's like, dude, who's got the 80 hours in a day to do all that? So you decide, screw that. You're going to be the number one first mover in your city. Lock the other peeps out. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My hospital is currently closed for new patient intake right now. So my DMs are currently closed. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, then shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.